and urgent, send them over. If it isn't, don't. That, Madam President, was our Democratic colleague, the senior senator from California, the ranking member of the Judiciary Committee. And she wasn't alone. Quote, "It's time to get on with it." That's our Democratic colleague, the junior senator from Delaware. Quote, "At some point, it's appropriate to send them and pass the baton to senators." Our Democratic colleague, the senior senator from Connecticut. Quote, "I think the time has passed. She should send the articles." Our Democratic colleague, the junior senator from Connecticut. Now, this is a challenging time to create bipartisan agreement in the Senate on any subject. But the Speaker of the House has managed to do the impossible. She's created this growing bipartisan unity here in the Senate in opposition to her own reckless behavior. Senators may not agree on much, but it appears most of us still recognize a threat to our institution when we see one. Article 1, Section 3 says the Senate shall have the sole power to try all impeachments, period. The House can begin the process, and Speaker Pelosi's majority has certainly done that, but the Senate alone can resolve it. And yet for weeks now, the House majority has blocked the Senate from fulfilling our constitutional duty. In a precedent-breaking display of partisanship, the Speaker has refused to let her own allegations proceed normally to trial unless she gets to hand design various elements of our Senate process. In other words, the House Democrats already spent 12 weeks undermining the institution of the presidency with a historically unfair and subjective impeachment, and now for a sequel, they've come after the institution of the Senate as well. That's where we are. The dwindling number of our Senate Democratic colleagues who remain complicit in this must realize what they are doing. Should future House majorities feel empowered to waste our time with junior varsity political hostage situations? Should future speakers be permitted to conjure up this sword of Damocles at will and leave it hanging over the Senate unless we do what they say? Of course not. This week, the majority of the Senate stepped forward to make it perfectly clear that this conversation is over. A majority of this body has said definitively that we are not ceding our constitutional authority to the partisan designs of the Speaker. We'll not let the House extend its precedent-breaking spree over here to our chamber. There will be no unfair new rule book written solely for President Trump. The basic organization of the first phase of this trial will track with phase 1 of the Clinton trial, which all 100 senators voted for in 1999. I've said for months that is our preferred route. And by the way, Madam President, that is exactly what the American people want. 77% told a Harvard-Harris survey that the basic outline of the Clinton trial, reserving the witness question until later in the proceedings, ought to be good enough for this president as well. Fair is fair. In the same survey, 58% of Americans said they want Speaker Pelosi to do her job and send the articles to the Senate rather than continue delaying. And it makes sense, Madam President, that American families have lost patience with this act, just like we senators have lost patience with it. Because this is not just some intramural tiff between two houses